Welcome to the Guided Expressions podcast with Martin Williams, the place to learn and be inspired to live your best life. Here is your host, Martin Williams.
Hey everyone, my name is Martin Williams. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Guided Expressions podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and on SoundCloud. All of the links will be provided at guidedexpressions.com/podcast. You can also check me out at the website, guidedexpressions.com. And while you're there, learn more about the Blueprint course, which is coming out in January. It is a course that will help you get everything that you want. It will help you attain the things that you've been reaching for, but maybe you haven't been able to attain up to this point. And I'm really excited to share it with you. I can't wait. So today what I wanted to talk to you about is the subject of staying engaged at work. A lot of people work a regular job, me included, and you do it for a variety of reasons. But the main reason for most people is it's a way to take care of yourself and take care of your family. It may not be your passion, right? And so sometimes we can get into a lull working at a job that may not be something that we're passionate about. And that's certainly understandable. Let's say that you have a desire to talk about Marvel movies or Star Wars movies or knitting or whatever the case may be. But you're in accounting right now. You're working a job that has nothing to do with that. You're working a job that has, that's so far away from talking about Marvel movies that, there's times when you really have trouble staying engaged. But, the issue is you got to pay your bills and build that other business, that side business, your passion, up to a point where it can provide for your living. And we all know that takes time. And, you may get to a point where you get really tired of your job and it's like, you know what, I'm just going to go and do it. I'm going to quit. But then, you're starting from zero and it can kind of wreck your life. And if you have no way to really support yourself until that other business comes through, it can be a really difficult transition. So what do you do at work? How do you stay engaged at work? And one of the best ways that I know how is to always focus on improving. There's nothing wrong with improving at your job, even if it's a job that you may not want to become the CEO of that company. You may not want that, but why not get as much as you can out of that job while you're there, okay? And one of the best ways to do that is to always be focused on improving, right? Always be focused on getting better. Write down the tasks, the things that you have to do every single day. And when you list that out, give yourself a grade from 1 to 10, like 10 being the most proficient to the point where you can do it with your eyes closed, and 1 being, you're not that great at it. You're not really doing it at a proficient level, okay? So, really be hard on yourself and grade yourself. And what you will find is that, pretty much most of what you do, you can get better at. Now, certain things you may only need to get better a little bit, but there's other things where you might want to really challenge yourself to turn that 2 into an 8 or turn that 3 into a 7, right? You want to get to a place where in your job where you could train someone to do your job better than you were trained to do it, okay? Where I work, and I work with great people, but everyone's so busy that they really don't have the time to train others properly because, it's just only so many hours in a day and everyone's plate is full. And so I would say about 80% of my job is self-learning. And it's basically taking what I've learned from previous jobs and applying it to this current job. And then, of course, I get SOPs and work instructions, and many of you who work in office jobs, you get a similar type of delivery. But at the end of the day, I had to teach myself how to do the job. And for most of you, it's the same thing. You had to teach yourself. So think about, if I could teach someone, if I could just pull somebody off the street, right, and teach them my job, what would I do? And that's a great starting point, because if you can teach a complete novice your job within a few weeks, you've completely mastered your job. Your goal should be to master your job within a year. That should be your goal, right? So if you're starting a new job, you should have mastered that job a year after you were hired. Now, so for some people, that seems tough. But if you apply yourself and that becomes your goal every single day, right, you can master your job within a year. Now, why is this important? Because, again, you may be saying to me, Martin, I don't want to be an accountant. Like, I don't want to be a systems analyst. I don't want to be blank coordinator, right? you know the standard office jobs titles that we're all given, right? I don't want to be that. So why would I master my job? It's very simple. Why? Because number one, you can get as much as you possibly can from this job while you're here, while you're at that job, right? You can use that job to fund your new venture, which is what a lot of people do. You could say, all right, within 2 years, I'm going to have my own business. And I'm not just going to start from zero. I'm going to start from a base of having customers and everything else. And so you can say, all right, if I can get a raise, I can use the money that I got from the raise, the difference, and put it into a fund to start my business. That's a great goal, right? And what it will do is that it will motivate you every single day to get better and better and better and better and better. Because here's what happens with jobs, all right? Most people are just doing enough to get by. I don't care where you are, okay? The vast majority of your coworkers are doing just enough to not get let go, right? So in any company, there's about between 60 to 80% of the force are doing just enough, right? 10% are awful, and the company is doing everything they can to get rid of them, right? And then the top 10% of the company, they're the ones that get the promotions. They're the ones that the company, basically spares no expense to keep because there's so few of them, right? You want to be the person that the company spares no expense to keep, right? You want to be the person that if you say that you're going to leave within a year or within a month, that they're scrambling to do everything they possibly can to keep you, whether it's to give you more money, more responsibility, a higher, more visible position, like whatever the case may be. They're going to do everything they can to keep you in the door because you're that good of a worker. That should be your goal no matter where you are, right? Number one is to get as much as you can from the job, okay? Because the bottom line is that this is a business transaction. Okay, you're doing work for them and they're compensating you. So, in order to get more from the job, you have to give more and better service, right? The rules have never changed. So when you decide, okay, I'm going to get better at my job, what does that mean? It means, basically studying more, but it also means perfecting what you do each and every day. Making sure that every email that you send out is proficient, making sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed. Those are basically, it's the little things. The little things keep most of us back, right? It's the little things. It's never the big things because the little things influence the big things, okay? And then number two is that you want to get into the habit of excellence, right? When you leave your job, you're going into the entrepreneurial space. You're going into the business world, okay, where the competition is fierce. The competition is greater in the business world than it is in the workforce because, again, most of your coworkers are mediocre. Most of your coworkers are doing just enough to get by. In the entrepreneurial space, everyone's trying to survive, right? So the competition is stiffer, but at the same time, the rewards are greater. In order for you to survive in the business world, you've got to be able to be excellent at what you do. You have to be able to stand head and shoulders above the competition. And some people feel like, well, I shouldn't have to compete. And I understand that. It's not so much that you're focusing on the competition, but you're focusing on being your best self to the point that there is no competition. You want to raise your level of excellence to the point where no one's competing with you, okay? Where do you think that starts? You can start it in the business world, or you can start it now. So when it comes time for you to venture out on your own, it's a habit, right? If you're going to talk about Marvel movies, you want to be the best person talking about Marvel movies that there is. You want to be the one that does the homework. You want to be the one that does the research. You want to be the one that people come to and say, well, if Martin didn't say it, then I don't believe it. You want to build that trust with your customer. And when you build your trust with that customer, you can sell them anything. You can sell them anything from a T-shirt to a meet and greet to a membership, and they'll buy it because you've built that level of trust with them, okay? So it's important that your excellence is top-notch. Like you want to raise your level of performance to such a high level that no one out here can compete with you. And the way that starts, it starts at the workplace, okay? So that's how you stay engaged at work. You decide, okay, I'm going to become a master at my job. And if you've been on the job more than a year, then decide that from a year from now, you're going to master your job. You're going to master your job to the point that you outgrow it and force your company to give you a promotion or, move on to a different position or move out into entrepreneurship if you're financially ready for it. So I want to challenge you to do that. My name is Martin Williams. I thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and I will talk to you soon.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Guided Expressions podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify to get all the latest content from Guided Expressions. No one builds a house without a blueprint, so why are you trying to build your dream life without one? That's how the Blueprint course was created. The Blueprint course is for people who know they were meant for more. Created by Martin Williams, the Blueprint is a streamlined way to help you create the life you've always wanted. Get instant access now by clicking the link in the description box or going to guidedexpressions.com/blueprint.